Hey y'all, so I'm here with another video. I am here today to talk about, what is it, Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich, that was on Netflix, aka Surviving Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're gonna call it. We got Surviving a Harvey Weinstein coming, we did Surviving R. Kelly, so now we got Surviving Jeffrey Epstein. So again, if you guys don't know, when I do my reviews on movies, it's not a movie, but it's like a, it's a docu-series, but regardless, I don't talk about every single major plot point because it's unnecessary. I talk about the major overarching themes that stuck out to me. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the plot points, like I said, but not too much. So we have Jeffrey Epstein. Now, if you guys do not know, everybody should pretty much know about the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein. You guys know that he killed himself. He killed himself last year after he was arrested for I think it was like prostitution and soliciting prostitution from minors. Pretty much he was around here messing with little girls, right? Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So we get like a nice little we get a nice background on Jeffrey Epstein. Pretty much he comes from Coney Island, New York. Shout out to Coney Island, but not shout out to him, but shout out to Coney Island. And pretty much this documentary shows, like, especially when it comes to his background, how he was able to pretty much manipulate his way through a lot of different things. Actually, I just thought about it. One thing that, now that I think about it, that's very prevalent is clearly the influence, honestly, the power of just being a white man. Because the thing is, even before Epstein became who he was, the simple fact that he was a white man meant that he was allowed to get away with so much shit that the average person would have not been able to get away with. He went to school or whatever. I think he went to, I forgot what school he went to, but he only went there for 2 years. He left. Let me plug this in real fast. Okay, so he went to college or whatever, but the thing is, he never finished school. So he technically only went to school for 2 years. He left that school and then he went to go and work for, I think, like the Dalton School, the Dalton University. But like, they have to pause right there. They to this day still they don't know to this day how that man was able to get that job and he did not have a college degree. That's number one. So clearly off top, like, that's already some type of privilege that you're gonna get off top. Because I'm pretty sure what it is that he probably wrote it down and nobody probably even thought to check it. I guarantee you. And that's part of the privilege of being a white, straight man in America, okay? Then after that, he ended up going and working for, I can't think of the guy's name right now. Ooh, what is his name? I can't think right now. But he went to go work for another company that was on Wall Street. And when he got there, it was, he at first everything was okay, but then as time started to go on, the person who hired him realized that he was doing a lot of shady shit. Like, he was moving money around, falsifying this, falsifying that. And regardless of that, and regardless of the fact that he found out that he technically didn't go to school, he still gave him a second chance. That, ladies and gentlemen, again, is the epitome of white male privilege. If he was anybody else, he would have got the fuck away with, he would have got fired. And that's what I'm saying. That man, this is what we talk about when we're talking about white privilege. The fact that even before you even get to the actual economic side of it, because clearly that plays a very, very, very heavy role. But before you even get to having any type of money, any type of power, just your pure existence of being a straight white male in America will automatically open all of these doors for you, because they even showed you he did not come from anything that was really all popping. He didn't even go to a school. He didn't even finish school. The school that he went to wasn't even like a real popular ass school, but some way, somehow, he was still able to squeeze his way into these doors to get where it is that he was. So that's one of my overarching things, and I didn't even think about this till I just thought about it just now. Okay. So anyway, so one of the guys in the documentary talks about how he was pretty much like, well, everybody talks about how he was like a master manipulator, how he can pretty much just like, the type of charisma that he has, it's like very like alluring, and how he can just pretty much get you to say and do pretty much whatever it is that he wants. Okay, so let's get down talking about the girls and the actual assaults and stuff. So apparently this started in Florida. Florida is its own country. Oh my gosh, Florida is just its own country. But anyway, it started in Palm Beach. Palm Beach, Florida. That's where he lived. Now, if everybody know about Palm Beach, it's a very nice place, and all these millionaires, billionaires, everybody lived there. So they give us a little nice little background on that. But then they also talk about West Palm Beach and how West Palm Beach compared to actual Palm Beach, because Palm Beach is an island, that they don't. West Palm Beach is more like regular, working class, maybe lower middle class, area. So a lot of them, they would never ever 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 probably see anything like that. It kind of reminds me how um when you think of like South Beach, like in Miami, South Beach versus like when I left South Beach, I went to South Beach, Miami, like maybe 2 years ago. I went for my birthday. South Beach itself is, as y'all know, it's lively, it's booming, it's this, that, and the third. But I went to G5, which used to be King of Diamonds, and King of Diamonds is a smooth 30 minutes away from South Beach. So to get there, you have to cross this bridge. Once you cross the bridge out from South Beach, shit gets real. Like I don't want to say it gets real, but it's literally like regular people living, like how it looks outside of my damn window right now. So that was important to kind of frame it in the sense of you got to look at where these girls were coming from versus what it is that he had. So they talk about, okay, the one thing I will say about this documentary that after a while I kind of got tired of, not tired of, but I felt like they should have kept the story moving a little bit more, or maybe cut it out, is like, I don't know if maybe it's either the first or the second episode, but the thing is, all of the girls told the exact same story. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't want to hear everybody's story, but we literally went through 5 to 6 girls, and I'm talking about the exact same story. And again, that is good as like from a legal standpoint, but from an entertainment standpoint, like I heard this girl and that girl and that girl, and I've heard all of them tell the same stories. But then again, I don't want to take away nobody's voice or anything. But anyway, everybody told the same story, which is pretty much like they was invited by a friend when they was probably either 14, 15, 16, to that some rich ass old man would pay you $200 to give him a massage. Now let's stop right there. Now if we go back to the whole surviving R. Kelly thing, there's a lot of there. After the documentary, there was a lot of talk about how we find out, everybody finds it so disgusting, but we all know, girls at one time who was 14, 15 messing around with older ass guys. That's true, but that still doesn't make it right. Like I hear when people say that, but it still doesn't make it right. That's the only thing that I really be coming from. Like, yes, when I was in middle school, there was 2 to 3 girls that we knew for a fact their boyfriends was like 20, 21, and mind you, we're in like 6th, 7th grade. We ain't even in high school yet. We're in 6th, 7th grade, and you got niggas who's 18, 19, 20 coming to pick these girls up from school. Even back then, I'm talking for me personally. Even for me at the time, I thought that was trifling, because not from the girl standpoint, but just like, you're a grown ass man. Why are you trying to talk to somebody that's my age? Like, that's nasty for real. However, like I said, what they talked about the circumstances that these girls were in, because let me tell you something. Put a regular 14-year-old. I'm talking about a 14-year-old who, they got a mama, they got a daddy, their house is all perfectly fine. Tell a 14 or 15-year-old that they can make easy money. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna do it, unless they are extremely wealthy. But I'm talking about, if you're talking about like an average, maybe middle class to lower class teenager. When you're a teenager, you want your own money a lot of times, and if you're not working, you're pretty much dependent solely on your parents to get you that money. So if you had the opportunity to go get money any other way, and especially, I'm gonna be real, if I was 14 and I had a friend, especially if it's somebody that I consider like one of my best friends, who told me, look girl, all you gotta do is, I'm telling you, just massage this man down, he's gonna give you $200. I can't sit up here and say that I wouldn't do it. I'm being real. I can't even say that I wouldn't do it, because when you, I'm trying to tell y'all, think about it from a 14-year-old's mind. That's a lot of money. $200 at 14, that's a lot of fucking money. And in the other side, it's like, oh, all I'm doing is massaging this man like that. That's not that really big of a deal. But once the girls get there, it always starts off fine. He's laying on his, friend, and they start rubbing his back, and then eventually he always turns over, and either A, he starts jacking off, asks them to jack off, or, he starts trying to fondle them and do whatever it is that he do. So we had a girl back in 96 who had originally came out and said something. That's the thing. That's another thing I want to point out. There is always going to be a pattern with these type of people. Going back to the whole Survivor R. Kelly thing, everybody wanted to talk about, oh, all of these girls is just now coming out, when we had the girl Tia all the way back, like I said, in 90 something, before the whole thing was the Leah, before everything. She came out and she said something. There's always going to be a track record and a pattern with these other people, because they can't stop. They can't fucking stop. It just takes, and she probably wasn't even the first one. She probably was just the first one who actually said something and came forward about it. So, the Palm Beach, police, they recognize, the fact that this is a very, very wealthy, powerful man. So they're keeping everything really, really hush hush. But the thing about it is, no matter how hush hush it is that you try, money rules all. Period. I think one of the victims said that he told them, like, I own the police department. He probably really did. Maybe not to Benon's to maybe like the guy that I was talking on the interview, but money fucking talks at the end of the day. It talks. And people like that, they are always going to have their hands in the correct spots, which is going to be the police department, which is going to be the FBI, which is going to be, you're going to have your hands in everything. And as a billionaire, my nigga, if I could pay you $10,000 to Jeffrey Epstein was probably nothing. He probably was giving those cops way less than that, but to them was probably a shitload of money, just to probably give him a tip like, oh, if something's going on, tip me off, let me know. And so as they started to do the investigation, as time started to go on and on and on, they got him to do a few depositions here and there, which, pause, in those deposition tapes, my guy, they made you look terrible. You wouldn't answer anything. You was laughing at everything. You got up half a lot of times when they was asking you questions. Guilty. But when they started to do the investigation, even more, they realized, that stuff was starting to leak out. Of course, again, we're talking about money and we're talking about power. Both of those things, they're pretty much hand in hand. And so I feel like the way, well, clearly they played it as best as they could, but like when I be watching Law and Order and all of these other court shows and stuff like that, when it comes to somebody heavily like that, which they did point out in the interview, you gotta keep investigations like that close. When I mean close, you gotta have maybe no more than 3 or 4 fucking people that even knows about this shit, because that's when shit will start to leak. It'll start to leak. And that's partially why he was able to get off for so long. I'm sorry to keep tying everything back to Surviving R. Kelly, but I'm going to do that because I just seen a shitload of parallels in between both of them. But it's the same thing. R. Kelly had, I'm pretty sure he was paying off massive people in the Chicago Police Department. That's why at the end of the day, people knew. Like, same thing with R. Kelly around Jeffrey Epstein. People probably knew. They probably heard. Like they said, there's no way in hell that you're in that insulated of a fucking community and you don't see certain shit and you don't hear certain shit. It's just the fact that people didn't want to say anything for whatever reason it is. A lot of people is, oh, that's not my business. A lot of people, oh, well, that's not my child, so it doesn't really matter. That's what a lot of people, they look at it that way. Like, it's not technically affecting me right now, so whatever it is, that's what he do. That's not what I do. So yeah, the grooming process, that's what I was saying. I'm sorry, I have grooming here. I'm just kind of going on a tangent, y'all, so work with me. The grooming aspect, about him picking girls specifically who either came from a really abused home, had people who wasn't really looking out for them, and bringing them in and getting those girls close. Those are the ones that he picked out, and that's normally how that goes. You're gonna go for the quote-unquote weakest person that you can go for. And especially as a teenage girl, you're trying to find yourself, and you starting to have feelings about boys, and stuff is real complicated as a teenage girl. It is. So if you have normally, you come from a place where there's zero to no love at all, and then you have a man who comes and is providing you all of these things that you never in your life thought. I know grown ass women that's my age, that's 25, 26, 27, that would literally pass the fuck out, or as as she said in Game of Thrones, swoon over niggas with big Bentleys and big this, big that. And so it blows my mind that, not everybody, but it blows my mind that some people can't understand that grown women act the fool for wealth and cars and houses and shit like that. What you think a little 14, 15, 16-year-old girl gonna do? Who probably never in their life thought that they would even see something like this, let alone you're able to actually be around it and you're actually able to touch it to see that it's actually real. That's the best form of trying to get somebody to do something for you. It's money. People need resources. It is what it is, right? Cool. So I thought that was interesting, because they say all the time that when it comes to like people who are predators, they always are grooming people, and they're always like looking for the specific type of person. One thing I found disgusting, beyond disgusting, and I'm glad I can't think of her name because she's trifling, is his little girlfriend that he had. she was pretty much being a whole madam. Now, at first, I thought that she kind of knew, but she wasn't really participating until the one girl said that, how she met them, how she was working at Donald Trump's estate. And then the girl came over and said, oh, he needs a masseuse. She came over. Both of them started to massage him, and then a whole orgy popped out. Girl, you're just as trifling. I don't know what other whatever rock you hiding underneath, but keep your white ass right there, because that's beyond, that's even more trifling to me, because as a woman, come on, K Michelle, as a woman, why would you even put young women in that position? I mean, clearly it's something that you like too. That's nasty, it's disgusting, it's trifling, period. Um, let's see. Then we got Acosta. Oh my gosh, Alex Acosta, who is the U.S. District Attorney. So when the Palm Beach police had finally got all of their stuff together and got all of their evidence and their depositions and talked to everybody, they came to the, prosecutor's office, came to the district attorney, to, at the time, in Florida, who was Alex Acosta, and, was like, here's everything. Now, they knew for a fact they had it sealed tight. They had a search warrant. They got certain photos. Like, one of the main things I paid attention to when they was showing surveillance of going into the house is, before they even said it, I seen when they first came in the house, there was some winding steps. And I remember one of the victims saying, she said, when I came into the house, I went up these windy steps. I said, see, haha, that's how you get them. Because when the victims know, and they even said, when the victims, like multiple people, they know exactly where everything is. This is not bullshit. It's cut the shit. Cut the shit, okay? So, regardless, when they got all of that evidence and they brought it over to Alec Acosta, they started to slowly but surely not hear anything. Then the FBI kind of got involved a little bit, and it got taken over by the government. And the victims pretty much heard close to nothing. And I said, that's where it was gonna go downhill, period. And this is why a lot of times women don't come out, especially against powerful ass men like that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. These people have friends in high places, and it's not even that. All of these motherfuckers, for the most part, they're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. The majority of those people that he fucked with probably was messing around with underage girls. They was all doing shit they had no business doing. That's why everybody wanted to keep it so So eventually, come to find out, and they didn't even find out till it actually happened, that Alex Acosta gave Jeffrey Epstein, this was so disgusting to me, gave Jeffrey Epstein, he technically did, he was going to do 18 months in jail. That's disgusting. For pretty much prostituting, I think sex trafficking, prostituting like a minor. This man got 18 months for that. 18 months. And outside of the 18 months, this nigga had his own separate wing of the jail. Like, he's fucking, what's the guy down there in Jamaica who is locked up and he ain't never getting out, but he do whatever it is that he want. Him, okay, he got his own wing. He walking in and out, got TVs, and then this man got the nerve to have work release. So they asked him in a deposition, how many days out of the week was you out? Was you out 7 days a week? No. How many? 6. So 6 days out of the fucking week for 12 hours a day, you got to leave that fucking place. Get him the fuck out of here. I don't really understand how we wasn't paying attention during this time, but trifling. Whatever, he do his time, whatever little fucking time that is, barely did anything, got his ass out. Trifling. Like, Acosta's really trifling, and then, he ended up being like the labor department guy, whatever, and I put this in my notes because I wanted to fucking put it here. Acosta, let me tell you something. I would say that Karma's a bitch, but you want to know what? Karma already got your ass, because your wife, trash. You have a terrible looking wife, and your kids had that fucked up haircut, that buzz cut. The karma is already there. Ugly ass wife, fucked up haircut for the fucking kids. Boom, bye to the fucking moon. Bye, bitch. Bye. So then we talk about the pedophile island, pretty much, okay? Which is an island of Virgin Islands that, Jeffrey Epstein owned. He would bring a lot of famous people there. They talked a lot about Bill Clinton, and how Bill Clinton was around. And let me tell you something. We don't trust Bill around these parts. I love Bill because, he was the president, when I was growing up. Like, he's like the first president I really knew, growing up and stuff like that and all this other stuff. But we all know that Bill's a liar. Bill's not only a liar, but Bill's a freak, okay? And Bill is a little bit kind of sort of perverted sometimes. So none of this surprised me. He came out later and said, "Oh, I've never been there." Bullshit. They found all of these fucking logs with your name on it, but you didn't go, Bill. Bill he just always does the most. That's why he's former Bill Clinton president, and I don't even mean former, but that's why this nigga got, fucking whatever, kicked out of fucking office because he's a fucking liar. So I didn't even care about anything he had to say. But the thing about the island that might have, oh man, it's just the thought. I can't even imagine what the hell was really going on that island. Like, I be thinking about the crazy stuff that goes on, like, within people's houses, like, real rich people houses. But when I think about a whole ass island, like, when she said orgy island, girl, I believe it. I bet you the most trifling ass shit that ain't even legal in a whole bunch of countries was probably done right there. And it's really disgusting, like I said, to think about. Like, I could only imagine the nasty ass shit that man was fucking doing down there. Then let's talk about Prince Andrew. Let's talk about Prince Andrew and him being full of shit. So we got, I think, what was her name? Carolyn? Was that her name? Carolyn? I can't think of her name right now. I can't think of the name of the main girl. No, Virginia. That's her name, Virginia. Virginia, was somebody, who kind of was one of the girls who was kind of around, Epstein a lot. And, she tells the story about, how she ended up meeting Prince Andrew, how they all had one out, this, that, and the third. And then how at the end of the night, this man raped her, pretty much. Pretty much what happened. Pretty much sexually assaulted her. What happened. Prince Andrew at the time I came out and said he didn't know nothing about it. Blah, blah, blah. He goes on BBC, he does an interview. Don't know why he did that. It made him look worse. Because the whole thing he kept saying is, "Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember." My nigga, it doesn't matter if you remember. The point of the matter is that you was there. And even the interview said, "Well, did you see the picture of you two together and you had your arm all around her waist?" Yes. Okay, so what do you have to say? "Oh, I don't, because I don't remember." And then go put out a statement talking about he was with his daughter at the time that she claims that it happened. So let me get this straight. So you don't remember taking that picture and you don't remember her, but you remember that you and your daughter back in 1990 something or the early fucking 2000s, in the early 2000s was at a fucking pizza shop. Miss me with the bullshit, Prince Andrew. Miss me with the bullshit. We know what it is. Again, we know what the fuck it is. I didn't even do this video the way I wanted to. I just had some shit that was on my chest. But the point of the matter is that of course, I'm sorry. Let me before I get to the end, before I wrap everything up. Then, we talk about how, eventually he was arrested and eventually how he killed himself. Now, it seems like a lot of the victims might not necessarily believe. A lot of the victims, it seems like they do kind of believe that he killed himself. The reason why I don't, outside of, what everybody else says, is because one thing that they pointed out about him a lot is that he's a narcissist. And I just don't feel as if he would have killed himself because of how narcissistic he was. Maybe he would have. Maybe that's why he killed himself, because he's so narcissistic and he didn't want, like, his image or whatever to be so tainted. Maybe. But let's just be real. Like the girl in there said, that man had a lot of friends, okay, that came and visited him a lot. If y'all think, and like she said, that man was literally a speck in the spectrum as far as sex trafficking is concerned, especially when we talking about, like, the rural rich uber famous. Like, fuck out of here. That man probably lent, because even the one girl said she was lent out to many different people, politicians, businessmen. You think somebody wanted all of that shit to get out for real? I guarantee you, if it came down to it, he would have probably threw all of them motherfuckers under the bus. Point of the matter is, look, this documentary, to me, I mean, it was a little bit interesting, just in the fact of, me hearing all of the stories from the girls. But it just doubles back down on white male privilege. It doubles down on how, at the end of the day, money is power. Power is money. It is what it, I won't say it is what it is, but power is money. Money is power. And when people say, "Oh, nobody's above the law," unfortunately, a lot of people are above the law. And it's as fucked up as it is, it's just the case of the matter. But you want to know what? Karma always going to come back around, and it ain't going to hit you when you think, little man. It ain't going to hit you when you think. And something very powerful that somebody said on there, which I always think about all the time. She said, "I went into court to see him," and she said, "I just wanted to say to him, you remember me?" No, I know you don't remember me, because there were hundreds of me. But the thing is, I'm always going to have to remember you. And that is literally probably the most powerful thing said in this whole documentary. That is a whole fact. When stuff like this goes on, the men, the predators, they don't remember, because you're just cycling through girls. You're just cycling through people. You're just cycling. So to you, it's just another girl. It's just another person. It's just another person. But that woman who you've affected, they now have to live with the thought of you in their head forever. They don't have the luxury of being like, oh, well, I don't remember. Oh, well, it's kind of a little fuzzy. They don't have that luxury. Trifling. But otherwise, y'all should watch it. It was something good to watch in the morning time. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, and I'll back.